I remember the first time I saw his face, not in person, on paper, nailed outside a saloon, curled at the edges, stained with dust and tobacco spit. Wanted, Elias Vale, train robber, murderer, fugitive. That was what the poster said. But paper has a habit of telling only the part someone paid to print. I was a Marshal then, or close enough to one. Badge on my chest, gun on my hip. Enough guilt behind me to make me dangerous, but not enough truth yet to make me useful. The town wanted Elias dead, not captured. Dead. That should have been my first question. But back then, I still believed a badge meant the law was standing behind me. So I took the poster, I saddled my horse, and I rode west after a man everyone said was evil. 3 days later, I found his trail. That was when I realized something strange. He wasn't hiding. Before I rode out, I asked around about Elias Vale. Nobody wanted to talk. That told me more than talking would have. The banker said Elias killed 2 guards. The preacher said Elias had no soul. The sheriff said Elias was the kind of man you don't bring back breathing. But the widow behind the general store, she wouldn't look me in the eye. When I asked her what Elias had done, she said, "Depends who's asking." That should have stopped me. It didn't, because men like me don't always recognize warnings when they're handed soft. Sometimes we only hear them when they come through gunfire. That night I checked the reward money, $5,000. Too much for a thief, too little for a secret. The first place I tracked him was the rail line. That was where they said Elias Vale made his name. A burned-out train car sat half-sunk in the dirt, blackened by fire, forgotten by everyone except the flies. I found bullet holes, too many, and not all facing the direction they should have. That was the first crack in the story. The guards hadn't just been shot from outside the train. Somebody had fired from inside. That meant Elias wasn't the only man with a gun that night. Then I found something under the floorboard, a child's ribbon, blue, clean enough to mean someone had hidden it there on purpose. That was when I started to wonder if I was hunting the man who caused the massacre, or the only man who survived it. I found her at Dry Creek. Name was Mara Bell. She had a rifle in her hands and grief behind her eyes. She knew Elias, more than knew him. When I said his name, she didn't flinch. She just said, "You're late." Same words Elias would say to me later. That was when I knew this trail had been waiting on me longer than I understood.